The storm had come without warning. It started as rain, soft, quiet, harmless. Then the wind grew stronger, the sky turned black, and the river began to rise. People ran, shouted, prayed. The young girl held her mother's hand tightly, her heart pounding with fear. The water climbed higher and higher, swallowing houses, roads, and lives. Thunder roared like an angry beast. In a single moment, everything was chaos, screams, crashing wood, darkness. The girl tried to hold on to her mother, but the current tore them apart. She didn't remember how long she'd floated. The world was just water, pain, and cold. Then silence. When she opened her eyes again, the sky was gray, and she was lying on muddy ground surrounded by broken branches. Her body trembled. Her lips were blue, her clothes torn and heavy with mud. She called out weakly, "Mom, Dad, anyone?" No answer, only the soft sound of the river still flowing nearby. She tried to stand, but her legs failed her. Pain spread through her body like fire. Still, she crawled, searching, hoping to see someone she loved. But everywhere was ruin. The storm had taken everything. Days passed before she reached a nearby town. She was weak, hungry, and barefoot. Her stomach growled with emptiness. The people there were busy rebuilding their own lives. Some looked at her with pity, others with indifference. No one stopped to help. She found shelter under an old bridge that night. Rain dripped through the cracks, and she hugged her knees to stay warm. She whispered, "Why did I survive?" The next morning, a doctor passing by saw her lying there. He carried her to a small clinic and gave her water. Her pulse was faint, her skin pale. When she woke, he smiled gently and said, "You're alive. That's a miracle." But after examining her, his face grew sad. He explained that her lungs were damaged by the floodwater. Her body was too weak for hard work. "You must rest," he said. "Heavy labor could kill you." The girl looked down, silent. She thanked the doctor, even though she had nothing to thank him with. After a few days, she left the clinic. She had nowhere to go, no family left, no home to return to. The streets were wet and empty. She walked with slow, tired steps, carrying only an old bag. At the edge of the town, she saw a forest. It was quiet, green, and deep, a place where no one would see her tears. She followed a narrow path along the riverbank until she found a small clearing hidden between trees. There, she decided to stay. She gathered broken pieces of wood, old plastic sheets, and scraps of metal from the roadside. With shaking hands, she built a small shelter, a fragile roof over her head. It wasn't much, but it was hers. When the rain came, it leaked. When the wind blew, it trembled. But inside, she felt a strange sense of peace. It was the first time since the flood that she had a place to rest. Every morning, she woke to the sound of birds and running water. She walked to the nearby road, collecting cans, bottles, and scrap metal to sell. Whatever she found, she carried in her small bag. Some days, she earned enough for a piece of bread. Other days, she earned nothing. Those nights, she went to bed hungry, curling into herself for warmth. She whispered to the darkness, "Maybe tomorrow will be better." She became known by a few drivers as the quiet girl by the road. Sometimes, kind strangers left her food or water. She always smiled and said thank you. Even when no one heard her, she thanked the world for small kindnesses. But life was still lonely. Every night, she sat outside her shelter, looking at the stars. They reminded her of her family, bright, far away, but still shining. Tears fell quietly, but she didn't wipe them away. One afternoon, as she searched near a large dump, she heard something, a faint whimper. It was soft, weak, almost like a cry. She followed the sound, pushing aside piles of trash and broken boxes. Then she saw it, a small puppy, thin, dirty, and trembling. Its eyes were filled with fear and hunger. The girl froze for a moment. Then, slowly, she knelt down. "Hey there," she whispered gently. The puppy backed away, tail tucked between its legs. The girl tore a piece of stale bread from her bag and held it out. "Here, it's okay." The puppy sniffed it, then took a bite. She smiled for the first time in months. Carefully, she picked it up. It was light, fragile, and shaky. She pressed it close to her chest. "Don't worry," she said softly. "I'll take care of you." The puppy licked her chin as if to say thank you. From that day on, she was no longer alone. The puppy followed her everywhere, through the forest paths, along the roads, into the dumps. When she rested, it curled beside her. When she cried, it placed its head on her knee. They became each other's family. The girl found strength in its loyalty. The dog found safety in her kindness. Together, they faced hunger, rain, and cold nights. And for the first time, the girl no longer feared tomorrow. Every day was still hard, but now when she looked at the sky, she smiled instead of crying. Because no matter how poor she was, she had something money could never buy: love. Days of hunger and hope. Morning light spilled through the gaps in her little shelter. The girl woke up slowly, feeling the cold air touch her skin. Beside her, the small dog slept soundly, curled up like a tiny ball of warmth. She smiled weakly and whispered, "Wake up, my little one. We have work to do." The dog yawned, stretched, and wagged its tail. It was thin like her, but its eyes sparkled with life. Together, they stepped out into the soft mist of dawn. The forest smelled of wet earth and hope. Another day had begun, another day to survive. She walked along the muddy road with a torn bag over her shoulder. Her bare feet sank into puddles. Cars passed by, splashing water near her. No one looked at her twice. To the world, she was invisible. But the dog walked proudly beside her, as if guarding a queen. It barked at crows and wagged its tail at strangers. Sometimes people smiled when they saw them. A few kind hearts left food near the road. When that happened, the girl always bowed her head in gratitude. "Thank you," she would whisper, even if no one heard. Then she would tear the food in half and share it. "Half for you, half for me," she said to the dog. They always ate together. Their days were long and quiet. She spent hours searching through dumps and piles of trash. Bottles, cans, pieces of metal, anything that could be sold. Her hands were often cut by sharp edges. Sometimes she found nothing but broken glass and rotten food. The smell of decay filled her lungs. But she kept going. She hummed softly, to herself, a tune she remembered from her childhood. It was the only song that made her forget the hunger. When the sun set, she carried her small bag to the junk shop. The owner, a rough but kind woman, weighed the items. "You've worked hard," she said, handing the girl a few coins. The girl smiled shyly, clutching them in her small hands. It wasn't much, but it meant survival. That night, under a dark sky filled with stars, she counted the coins one by one. She had enough for a small loaf of bread. She broke it in half and handed a piece to the dog. He ate gently, as if knowing she had sacrificed for him. "Good boy," she whispered, stroking his fur. He licked her hand, tail wagging softly. The firelight flickered across their faces. For a moment, it felt like home. For a moment, the world wasn't cruel. But there were harder days too. Days when the rain fell endlessly, when the dumps were too wet to search, and hunger clawed at her stomach. She grew weaker, thinner, quieter. Once, she fainted near the roadside. When she opened her eyes, the dog was whining beside her, licking her face anxiously. It had stayed the whole time, guarding her. She smiled faintly and whispered, "It's okay, I'm here." Then she sat up, wiped her face, and continued searching, because giving up meant dying. Days blurred together. Hunger, rain, and silence. But through it all, the girl kept hope. Each night, before closing her eyes, she whispered a small prayer. "Thank you for letting me see another day." Then one afternoon, something changed. She was searching through an old dump near the town's edge. The dog barked, scratching at a pile of trash. "Wait, what is it?" she asked, walking closer. The dog kept digging. "Ty Vugging fussed." She knelt beside him and brushed the dirt away. Something glimmered beneath the plastic, a faint shine. Her heartbeat quickened. She pulled harder, revealing an old bag. It was heavy, sealed with a broken zipper. "What could this be?" she whispered. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, her eyes widened. Bundles of cash, thick and real. She gasped and covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Her breath came in sharp, uneven waves. For a moment, she couldn't believe it was real. She looked up at the sky, then down at the dog who wagged his tail, clueless. Her lips trembled. "Is this really happening?" she whispered. She picked up a note and stared at it in disbelief. The world spun around her. After all her pain, after so many hungry nights, was this fate? Was this a miracle? Or just another cruel joke? She didn't know, but she began to cry, hard, uncontrollably, not because she was rich, but because life had finally given her something back. She hugged the dog tightly. "We did it," she sobbed. "We found something, my friend." The dog barked once, as if saying, "Yes, we did." She sat there for a long time, staring at the bag. Her mind swirled with thoughts, fear, joy, confusion. If someone saw her with it, they might take it away. If she kept it, maybe life would change forever. But what if it brought trouble? The girl took a deep breath. Then she hid the bag under some rocks near her shelter. "I'll think tomorrow," she whispered. "Tonight we eat." That evening, she went to the small market in town. She bought bread, a little meat, and milk for the dog. It was the first real meal in weeks. They sat beside the road, the setting sun painting the sky gold. The girl tore the bread, gave half to the dog, and took a bite. It tasted like heaven. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she chewed. For the first time in a long time, she felt full. She looked at her loyal friend, smiling. "Thank you for staying with me," she whispered. The dog wagged his tail, licked her hand, and barked softly. They ate together until the last crumb was gone. The sky turned purple, then black. The girl leaned back, watching the stars above. She whispered to herself, "Maybe tomorrow will be different." The dog rested its head on her lap. The night was quiet, peaceful. For the first time, she didn't fear the dark. The next morning, she woke early. The air was cool, the world calm. She walked to the dump again, not to search, but to look, to see if what she found was still real. The bag was still there, untouched. She sighed with relief. "I don't know what to do," she murmured. Maybe this is the start of something new." The dog barked once, wagging its tail. Happily, that day, she sold a small bag of scrap metal. The woman at the junk shop smiled at her. "You work hard," she said. The girl nodded and smiled shyly. Her eyes glowed brighter than before. The woman gave her a bowl of soup. "Eat," she said gently. "You look tired." The girl hesitated, then whispered, "Thank you." Tears shimmered in her eyes as she ate slowly. The dog sat beside her, tail brushing the ground. After that day, she went back often. The woman began to know her name, and the dog too, who everyone adored. Life was still hard, but it wasn't hopeless anymore. For the first time, the girl believed in tomorrow. At sunset, she sat outside her shelter again. She looked at the small bag of hidden money under the rocks. She smiled faintly. "I won't use it yet," she whispered. "I'll earn my own first." Then she looked at her dog. "Someday," she said softly, "we'll have a real house, not this one of sticks and rain." The dog barked happily. The wind blew through the trees, carrying her words away. The girl closed her eyes and whispered a final prayer. "Thank you, whoever is listening, for giving me a second chance." The stars flickered above. The dog curled up beside her. And for the first time in a long time, the girl slept peacefully, dreaming of light, warmth, and hope. The morning sun crept gently across the forest floor. The girl opened her eyes to the soft sound of birds. Beside her, the dog lifted its head and wagged its tail. A new day had begun, a day that felt different. She stepped outside her shelter and stretched. The cool air filled her lungs. And for the first time, she didn't cough. She smiled faintly, brushing her tangled hair from her face. Maybe she thought life was finally changing. The small bag of money remained hidden under the rocks. She had not touched it since that night. Every morning she looked at it, and every morning she told herself the same words. "Not yet. I want to earn my life honestly." That promise gave her purpose. She walked to the town again, the dog trotting beside her, tail swaying happily. Her bare feet were used to the dirt road now. It no longer hurt. She had grown stronger. When she arrived at the junk shop, the same kind woman greeted her. "You're back," the woman said with a smile. The girl nodded shyly, her small hands clutching a bag of scrap metal. "You work hard, little one," said the woman. "Would you like to help me clean my garden today?" The girl blinked in surprise. No one had ever asked her to work with them before. Her lips trembled, and she nodded quickly. The woman handed her a broom and some gloves. The dog sat nearby, watching curiously. All day, the girl worked quietly, sweeping leaves, gathering weeds, and washing the front steps. The woman brought her lunch, warm rice and vegetables. The girl bowed her head. "Thank you," she whispered softly. The woman smiled. "You deserve it." Tears glimmered in the girl's eyes as she ate slowly. Her dog waited patiently beside her. She shared half of her meal. "As always, you first," she said gently. The woman watched, eyes softening. She could see how much love there was between them. As the day ended, the woman gave her a small envelope. "For your work," she said kindly. Inside were a few bills, not much, but to the girl, it felt like treasure. Her hands shook as she whispered, "Thank you." That night, back at her shelter, the girl sat by a small fire she had built from broken wood. She opened the envelope, counted the money, and smiled. She didn't add it to the hidden bag under the rocks. No, this money felt different. This was hers, earned with her hands, not from luck or fate, but from effort. She placed it in a small tin box beside her bed. The dog lay next to her, head on her lap. The flames danced in their eyes. She whispered, "We're getting closer, my friend." The dog barked softly, its tail thumping against the ground. Days turned into weeks. The girl began helping the woman regularly, sweeping, cleaning, watering plants. She was still weak, but determination filled her every step. Her laughter, once lost, began to return. The townspeople started to notice her. The quiet, homeless girl with the loyal dog. Some greeted her kindly. Others offered her small jobs, carrying water, sweeping floors. Bit by bit, her world began to grow. One evening, while she was cleaning the woman's yard, the woman asked softly, "Where do you sleep, dear?" The girl hesitated, looking down. "In the forest," she said. "By the river." The woman's eyes widened. "All alone?" The girl nodded, smiling faintly. "I'm not alone," she said. "I have him." She pointed at her dog, who wagged his tail proudly. The woman sighed. "You're brave," she said. "Too brave." Then she added quietly, "If you ever need shelter, my gate is always open." The girl didn't know what to say. That night, she walked home under the stars. The road was long, but her heart was light. The dog walked beside her, its shadow stretching long under the moonlight. She whispered, "We're doing okay, aren't we?" The dog barked once in reply. She smiled. "Yeah, we are." When she reached her little hut, she sat down and gazed at the hidden bag again. Weeks had passed, and she still hadn't touched it. It had become a symbol, not of money, but of hope. Her secret reminder that miracles do exist. One day, as she searched the dump for cans, she saw a small figure in the distance, a child. The child was crying, lost and afraid. The girl ran toward him, calling out gently, "Hey, don't cry. What's wrong?" The boy sniffled. "I can't find my mom." The girl knelt down. "It's okay. I'll help you." She took his hand and walked with him toward the road. After some time, a worried woman came, running. "Tommy," she cried, hugging the boy tightly. The mother looked at the girl with tears in her eyes. Thank you so much." The girl shook her head shyly. "It's okay." The woman opened her purse, but the girl stepped back. "No need." Instead, the mother smiled and said, "Then please at least take this." She handed her a small bag of food. The girl hesitated, then accepted it with both hands. "Thank you," she whispered. When she got home, she shared the food with her dog. They ate quietly as the sun went down. The dog rested its head on her lap again. The girl stroked its fur and whispered, "Kindness always comes back, doesn't it?" The dog wagged its tail, as if agreeing. She smiled, a true, gentle smile. It wasn't wealth that filled her heart, but warmth, peace, and gratitude, things money could never buy. Weeks later, the rainy season returned. But this time, she wasn't afraid. Her shelter was stronger now, covered with better wood and plastic. The money she had earned helped her fix it. And every night, She lit a small candle inside. The candle's glow filled the tiny space with golden light. She and the dog would sit quietly, listening to the sound of the rain on the roof. It was still a poor life, but it was full of love. One night, as thunder rolled in the distance, the girl whispered softly, "Do you remember the storm that took everything from us?" The dog lifted its head, ears twitching. She smiled. "That storm gave me you." She reached down and hugged him tightly. "Maybe it wasn't punishment," she said. "Maybe it was a beginning." The dog barked softly, pressing closer to her chest. Tears filled her eyes, but they were happy tears. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, there was warmth and the sound of breathing. The girl closed her eyes, resting her head against the dog's fur. "Thank you for staying," she whispered. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the trees. The storm had passed. The forest sparkled with dew, and the river sang softly beside her shelter. It was a new day, clear, calm, and bright. She stepped outside, feeling the grass beneath her feet. The air smelled of life. The dog ran ahead, barking with joy. She laughed, chasing after him. For the first time in years, her laughter filled the forest. She didn't know what the future would bring, but she no longer feared it, because even if she had nothing, no riches, no house, no grand dreams, she had love. And love, she realized, was the one thing that could never be taken away. It could turn hunger into hope, cold into warmth, and emptiness into meaning. That night, as the sun dipped below the trees, she sat by her little fire again. The dog curled beside her, eyes half closed. She whispered softly, "Maybe one day we'll have a real home." The dog wagged its tail in response. The flames flickered across their faces. A smile spread across hers. Gentle, peaceful, full of quiet faith. And in her heart, she already had that home.